In the afternoon of yesterday, three very important thematic table for the splinter session about technology, materials and software. Can I use one of these? Hello? Okay, now it works. Sorry about that, but it's better because I have to look to the slides, so it's better. Good morning, everybody. Many thanks to be here. Thanks to Giuseppe Agerno. Thanks to the organizer, DTA, ASI, ISA, for inviting me to organize this very interesting workshop. Yesterday we were talking about materials, we were talking about 3D printing and so on. Today, I guess, is a day more general, talking about space economy, actually specifically talking about entrepreneurship. So I want to show some slide. I mean, there will not be with pictures, so just to help me on the discussion, to set the scene for the following panels, because I think it will be very interesting to listen what the agencies, entities, European and Italians are, doing to support the entrepreneurship for the space economy. So, okay. So, just some point, what does it mean to deal with the space economy today? We all know that the space is a key driver for the technology advancement of course, for an economic sustainable development. Is very important for our strategic positioning, and also is helping us, our countries, to support the growth of very high level education and employment, which is very important, and it is a very a need for this growth. Just not to recall that the public is always investing in space, of course, we all know, with increasing resources, also because space is like this. Space is an incremental investment, of course, because when you start with an investment, with a sector, with a program, you cannot stop a certain point. So you have keep going investing in this program, and when you put other endeavor, you add some other money. So it's clear that we as a country always invested, and in the last 10 years we invested a lot of money. Italy, among the others, is a very well-structured country in the space, so we can deal with other countries in Europe and also around the world. I tried here to think about what happened in our time frame for the space economy, why we are here, why we all, especially we into the sector, but also people outside is starting to discuss about space, about economy related to space. To me, I guess we had at least these four drivers. We had in the last 7-8 years a very fast disruptive technology advancement in all sectors that we saw yesterday: materials, processes, the digitalization got into the space as was not before. We started to have a very advanced in dealing with the mass of data we have for the satellites. Also, we started to work with autonomy into satellite, artificial intelligence. So was a very fast growth on this aspect. The second thing is we all, and specifically at government level, we realized effectively that space is an element of strategy. I mean, it is an asset that is very strategic for the relation with country. And also, we saw lately during the war, the assets we put in place are strategic. So space is a strategic sector, but also what we do for the space is becoming strategic. So there's a question also to see if we need to protect these assets, the public, but also the private one. I don't know. Let's discuss about it. Obviously, we are not anymore in a competition related to a country, not even anymore into Europe. We are discussing about having a competition with other continents. I mean, our big industry are not anymore fighting among them into the Europe. Now we are in the situation where we have to discuss to take our European champions and dealing with the other China, India, United States competitors. So it's a very change of paradigm. The last thing is, as I say, the public is always invested and lately invested a lot of money. The single countries, Italy did it, we will see later on, ISA did it, Europe is doing, other countries are doing. So there's a lot of public money flowing into the space, along with the private one, which is usually recognized as the main thing characterizes the space economy. It's not only private capital flowing into the space. The space economy is much more than that. Okay, it's a sum of this factor. Even though we can discuss if the private capitals flew into the space because the point one, maybe, because the point two for the public, we don't know. These drivers probably are related among them. But clearly, we had different factors crossing together and creating this time frame where the things are very fast, sometimes too fast for who is setting the public policy, sometimes. And also for the private companies, very fast. So private companies has to adapt. It's much more easier for startups, for starting from zero. It's very difficult for the champions, traditional champions, to change so fast among a market which is not anymore so easy as it was 15, 20 years ago, even though 10 years ago, let me say. So that's why I call space economy not simple private investing. I call space economy a new approach to understand that there are many opportunities for the citizens, and also from the space activity, and also some kind of new awareness. So we all understand that the space is so important. That's why also in Italy we did a very advanced law, try to reorganize the governance into space, because we all are understanding that it's very important space. Just the resources. This is a slide that I usually show sometimes because it's very important to reply what we do. Okay. Yesterday, Minister Urso he said about a lot of resources that we as a country are putting in space. Those are the numbers, and these are not planned. These are real money already into the activities, already into the plan of the agency, the European one, the Italian one, and also the resources for the NPRR, the PNRR, which are already there. And let me tell that for what concerns space, at least, the PNRR is quite on track. I mean, it's very interesting what ASI and ISA are doing for the money from the PNRR. And also, we don't have to forget the huge money that the European Commission is putting into space. Now, probably European Commission is the most important actor in Europe for the investment in space. I mean, they are starting for the new program I Square, I don't know if you know about it. It's a new secure connectivity constellation. We are talking about 6 to 7 billion cost. It's going to be the new asset, the new key point of the space program. So there are huge money. There is a huge money, public money on the space. And try to get to the point of the presentation. What the government as a policy can do for the entrepreneurship. these points here, I mean, I don't know if you know, as a Office for Space and Aerospace Policies, we are supporting Minister Urso, which is the space delegate, to write again a new set of space guidelines. In Italian is indirizzi di governo. We translate as a guideline for the government for the space and aerospace. What is it? It's not a strategic plan. We are not talking about the strategy. We are talking about what the government and all the, let's say, the related entities, ministers, they can do to support the growth of the space. So we are talking about strategy, we are talking about government actions. And when I say government, I say the whole. I'm talking about ministers, I'm talking about entity under the ministers, I'm talking about agencies and so on. So to me, these points here are the first results of a first survey we did in the last February with a certain group of stakeholders. And we have to decline this. We know these are just titles, but at least what came out is that all the stakeholders, including startups and small enterprises and big one and university, talking about try to support the industrial network, specifically for what concerns the small companies and the startups, because they need probably different approach, talking about procurement policies and so on. So this is a very important point. Of course, we are talking about supporting the growth of risk capital flow in the space, because at the moment we are, we are well on track. I mean, in Europe we are growing as a risk capital money into the startups related to the space, but it's not enough. Obviously, we are comparing with the United States. They are, I don't know how many times more than Europe invests in space. Probably here there's a point, maybe is a next slide. There's also an approach from our startups for what concerns the risk-taking approach. I mean, probably our startups still are not so exposed to the risk and supported by what who is investing, maybe is asking less risk, is a countersense, but it's sometimes the two, they meet in the middle of the process where the startups need to improve a little bit the progress and process before getting the money for the venture. So probably is also an approach, a cultural approach that we have differently from the United States. The third point is what Minister Urso also said yesterday about a new law which is under work. He said probably end of the year or the first months of the next year there will be a legge spazio. So we are talking about a new law, try to regulate and to authorize new activity from the privates, but also there's a point that I said before for the startups about we are talking about contractual issues, try to fix a little bit how we did the public deal with the privates in some sort of much more easier way. And the last point, which is very important to us, because we recognize that all this revolution in the space needs more competencies that we don't have it. We don't have enough technical engineer people working on space, considering also the resources we are putting on space, but also we need some specific new competencies that are into the space economy and we don't have. So we have to work with our university, with our academia, with our companies to try to create these new competencies and to push. This is a very important policy, I think, for to exploit in the future. And this is a point common to the major countries in the world. We, as an office, we usually meet our counterpart. We met with the National Space Council for the White House, and this point is their first point as well. So because they recognize as well that in the United States there's a missing opportunity for education in STEM. Just some point for the audience and for the next panelists there. Obviously, as I said, the space economy is a great opportunity. We had automation, miniaturization, artificial intelligence, all these aspects that will create a new revolution for the space. The sustainability is a very key concept in space. It's not just a word written into the paper. It's an opportunity of business because making a making sustainable activities is also creating business because somewhere, somehow, sometime we have to clear up the mess we are doing since 15 years ago into the space. And this is a very great opportunity of economy, which is one of the main sectors in which the PNRR is investing the resources into the in-orbit economy. Which is the role of the public? And we will see later on, because I want to hear from my colleagues and friends from ESA, from ASI, and from the other institution, what they are doing to support this new growth. To me, what is the role of the public? Is enable for new markets, supporting the first part of R&D of the companies, and later on just acting like a system architect, not be part of the system, of course. So, but this is a very important role. And last things, as the things already said, we need more capital, private capital flow into the space, because today we have the experience with our Primo Space Fund and the others that sometimes approach us to discuss opening new venture capital funds, for example. The weak part is the private capitals that to match with the public fund, because public funds are available. If you want to make a venture capital fund, probably you just start with a lot of million in your pocket. What you miss is the capital from privates. And also, there's a weak point we have in Europe, especially in Italy. We need to push our champions, our companies working on the sector, to invest into venture capital, because this is a great leverage we miss. See, this is the last slide. I leave it for the others. I mean, those are, to me, the main sector in which I see the future of new entrepreneurship. Obviously, the downstream for the services, and this is a very question mark point. I want to hear from the panelists later on how do they see how it's gonna go with the downstream, because we are talking since a lot of years about the explosion of the downstream. So far today, I mean, we have a lot of economy activity on the downstream, but still we do not see new services, new startups making a boom on the downstream. In orbit economy, as I said, in orbit services, and autonomy, because we will have a low orbit access with autonomy satellites, clearing up, making operation, building satellites, and so on. The exploration obviously will be an economy, but this is gonna be a very far, more than today and tomorrow. Little orbit access will be another point of discussion about an economy, because as you know, all around the world we are discussing about what's going to happen after the ISS, right, at the end of this decade. There are 4 to 5 private ventures planning to build a new commercial space station, but still also then they don't know which business plan will hold up this station in orbit, let's say economically, because still we don't know if there will be, but at a certain point there will be, we don't know when, an economy based on the low orbit. But it's very difficult today to make endeavor getting $100 million or euro in a venture where today we don't have still some sign of this new market. Mini micro satellites, of course, new material and process. We heard yesterday I also met yesterday a very interesting startups from here. Operating 3D printing is a very important reality here of this Puglia. And the last thing is the team related to the security, because when we'll have more artificial intelligence applied to satellites, we, in parallel, of course, we will have the worry to see if this satellite operates without disturbances, without interference. So we have to grow in parallel with a lot of competencies in cybersecurity to control what these satellites are doing into the space. So that's enough. I leave these points to the next panelist, and I hope to listen some answer to this question and solicitations. Okay, so that's it.
Thanks to Director Pier Maria, who confirms the government's commitment to aerospace, already reaffirmed yesterday by Minister Urso, space revolution, digital revolution, and also real money for the space. Now it's the moment for a focus about ESA, the challenge for ESA Cosmic LFAM, and the moderator is Davide Giardino from ESA.
Hello, good morning. So I'm here to moderate this panel on this framework, which is called ESA Grand Challenge. And today we have an important announcement to do. And so I would invite on the stage the panelists, who are Luca Del Monte, the head of commercialization department at the European Space Agency, then Stefano Antonetti, Vice President, Business Development and Institutional Sales of the Orbit, and finally Giovanni Avallone, the Chief Technical Officer of Caracol. Okay. So I will start from Luca. So Luca, we have seen in the previous presentation of Mr. Pier Maria some key points that really match with what we are going to describe with this framework. So I just noted support the growth of the industrial network with a particular attention to SMEs and startups. Can you please describe this framework of the Grand Challenge, the objectives, and in which way it can stimulate these points?
So good morning again, everyone. Thank you, Davide, for this question. Yesterday, in my introduction, I said that the GSEW is a very special type of event, because when you go to conference and congress, certainly it's a great opportunity for exchange of partnership, of ideas. You always come back with new concept, with something new that you have learned. But the GSEW, on top of this type of advantage, has also a concrete focus. You remember yesterday I told you that we always conclude these activities with a contract, with an initiative, with something real, sound, where there is funding, where there are progress. And this is the case today, that we have the big pleasure to announce the fact that out of these discussions, we are here to announce the launch of a new initiative that is an ESA Grand Challenge. So we will discuss the details of that in a while. But what is an ESA Grand Challenge? An ESA Grand Challenge is, we have not invented actually. We have copied what was ongoing already since several years in the Silicon Valley with the Google X Prize on the Moon. And that was very fascinating type of initiative. So we tried to learn more from this X Prize Foundation, and we understood that it was basically a new way of leveraging innovation and promoting innovation by leveraging on challenges. Basically, there are two big categories of challenges: the ex ante and ex post. Ex ante is the typical pitch competition where somebody tells you what he will do, what he plans to do, and if you're convinced that this idea is good, well, you give him the prize. That's very usual, you know, many of them. Basically, there are pitch competition ongoing every day, but this is not a pitch competition. This is an ex post type of challenge. So this means that there will be a challenge announced, so a problem, a very difficult problem to be solved, and the prize will be given if and only if somebody will have managed to demonstrate that the challenge has been solved. So it's a completely different type of game, and actually what is coming out of this type of initiative are game changers, a deep impact on economy. It can be that at the end of a competition there is no winner, because the challenge was really very difficult. This was actually the case of the Google X Prize for the moon. After I think 15 years and $35 million on the table, nobody was capable of claiming the prize. Was it let's say a crash of the prize? Not at all. Not at all, because the 3 or 4 companies that managed to arrive very close but didn't win, but very close to solve that solution, are still on the business today, and are actually the 3 or 4 companies today in the world that are already offering on a commercial base rover on the moon. So you see, the logic, what I want to say is that we stimulate in this way the development of the industrial basis by addressing community of innovators that are coming from different industrial verticals. The idea of the Grand Challenge is to ask companies that are working in non-space industrial verticals to team up and mix up with companies from our ecosystem. And we are convinced that from this, let's say, connection of different ecosystems, new ideas, brilliant ideas come up. And this is also the basic of the technology transfer. So that's a bit the context and how we think that and why we think that this approach is capable of stimulating innovation and enlarging actually the industrial basis in space by attracting and creating new players, which is an essential ingredient.
Thanks, Luca. And so you mentioned the connection of different industrial verticals, so the so-called cross-fertilization. And we have today, indeed, a company, Caracol, which is a fast-growing company from the additive manufacturing vertical, which has an ambition to go to space and one day to in-orbit manufacture. So, Giovanni, I would like to ask you, so what is Caracol's ambition with respect to this competition, to this challenge, and more in general, your ambition with respect to space?
Thanks for the question. I think I'll start with a brief introduction about Caracol to share a bit of who we are, where we come from. Caracol is it's an innovative SME. We work in the field of large-scale additive manufacturing. So we develop technology to manufacture large components, and we do that by integrating robotics and multi-material 3D printing processes. We take care of the development both of the hardware, automation and control, and software, of course, to have full control on the technology. As Davide was saying, for us the aerospace industry, it's one of the most important target industry for many reasons. Somehow for obvious reasons. The aerospace is a field where the requirements in terms of manufacturing, performance, quality, it's the highest if compared with other industries. So we are working to develop the technology in the way to fulfill those aerospace requirements. Today we are already involved into different processes on one hand on some research, on the other hand already working on qualified industrial processes to fabricate, to manufacture with our 3D printing processes components, large-scale components for the aerospace industries. But we're really interested in on-site manufacturing, both on Earth. There is this increasing demand of having manufacturing 3D printers. So in our case, robots, printing robots around the globe in a remote context and manufacturing on site as close as possible to the final destination on the parts. And in that case, we're already targeting industrial aerospace asset to make this happen. And tomorrow we are looking to in-orbit manufacturing, so to build the technology that will be able to fly and manufacture parts out in space. And this is why we decided to launch this grand challenge with ESA and the orbit.
Thanks, Giovanni. So now I would like to ask Stefano one question. So the Orbit, of course, is a very well-known company in the space sector, and how do you see this partnership with Caracol? How it can open new potential opportunities for you? So this is just the question.
I mean, the partnership with Caracol was quite. Good morning, everyone. The partnership with Caracol was quite natural because, I mean, like every market disruption was through technology disruption. So I was listening to the questions that Mr. Primaria was asking before. If you think about it, like most of this disruption in the market, like which kind of Earth observation new service we can deliver in the market, which kind of new satellites, new hardware we can deliver in the market, how we can foster space economy. We need more technology innovation. So definitely we don't have to be afraid to be innovative. We don't have to be afraid to, look to science fiction even. So if you want to make spacecraft more light, spacecraft more competitive, spacecraft more similar to smartphones or laptop computers, I mean, this was science fiction up to 20 years ago, right? So the same thing would apply to space industry. If we all believe that space industry and space economy is one of the next frontier that will bring wellness and welfare to European and worldwide citizens, we need to believe that technology's disruption like the one that Caracol is proposing would help us. So we are definitely, so that's why the partnership is natural. Their technology will in principle help us to make our space hardware more competitive, more industrial scalable, more modular, and in perspective will allow us to look at space manufacturing. I know that many of us will say, okay, space manufacturing, we will see that in 100 years or so, but you never know. I mean, certain things can go extremely fast. Think of, I don't know, like if you imagine that in 1492, Cristoforo Colombo went to the Americas, and like in 50 years, only 50 years, we were able to go all around the globe to set new harbors, to discover new lands, and it was so fast at the time. I think space could go at a similar pace.
Thanks a lot, Stefano. So we have still less than 10 minutes, so I would ask you to accelerate before the announcement. So Luca, I just would like to ask you something. So we saw just two companies which are sponsoring this initiative, and so maybe it's important to also clarify, to explain what is the role of ESA with respect to this initiative. We said that it acts as a catalyst, but it's a bit a change of paradigm with respect to ESA normal procurement approach. So maybe you would like to say a few words on that and to explain.
Absolutely. Thank you, Davide, for explaining indeed that the role of ESA in this case it's very difficult also, because we are not procuring anything for the agency. So the Space Agency is requested to follow strictly procurement regulation, so it's basically codice pubblico degli appalti, if you want, parallel with what's happening in the public administration in Europe. In this case, we are not procuring anything for us, but we are actually connecting two communities. The community of the companies that are the main sponsors, in this case it's Caracol and the Orbit, and which we are announcing a challenge. They have a problem that they would like to address and to solve, and the community of the problem solvers, which are typically our SME, our startup. I mean, just in our we will talk about that maybe later today, but just in our business incubation network, we have more than 1,500 incubatees that are eager to address new markets and potentially also to solve these challenges. So what we do is that we launch this challenge. In this case, it will be the ESA Caracol the Orbit Grand Challenge, and we will open this for a limited period of time. If I'm not wrong, it's 1 year. And in that period, ESA we will put at disposal, of course, our communication network. So we will advertise, we will communicate, we will try to diffuse the idea of this challenge, and then we will offer also our technical assistance, in particular colleagues from that are also here today with us from our technical bodies and also our facilities and laboratories to verify that the challenges has been indeed solved in a impartial way.
Okay, so I think it's time to go through the conclusions. I would ask Mario to display the challenge, which is called Cosmic LFAM ESA Grand Challenge. And so before concluding and to have a picture opportunity for communication, indeed, I would like to ask to Giovanni and Stefano, so what are your expectations? What do you offer to competing teams? And so to officially launch these competitions, which will be available from tomorrow on the websites that you can see over there. We will further communicate, but okay, so please.
Right. Well, as Luca was saying here, we have put together a consortium where Caracol is playing the role of we are playing the role of the technology developer, and the Orbit is going to be the end user somehow of this activity. And it's really important to say that the way the technology is developed need to be as close as possible to the final requirements that the end user is sharing. So for us, and this is also related to why we launched this challenge, because we find out that what we want to target has to play around specific technological rules. Of course, talking of in space manufacturing, there is we need to deal with gravity. We need to deal with a no-gravity or a microgravity environment, and that's actually the specific topic where around the challenge was built. So we're talking a really specific technological issue, and we are. It's a challenge. It's an open call. We are talking to SMEs, to startups, but I guess also to research centers, university, anyone who's working on this argument and want to have the opportunity to work in industrial environments around real requirements. So that's the real opportunity also for the entities who will join the challenge.
Yes. So, and I mean, there will be also a proper test of the breadboard once it will be provided in a vacuum chamber at STEC, so in the ESA technical facility in the Netherlands. And so, I don't know, Stefano, if you would like to conclude and then.
Help us to make space more accessible. Basically, give us your idea, your technologies, how to make our spacecraft, our service more competitive. We are on the commercial market as a user, so help us to make our customers more. I think that's the real summary of the challenge, basically.
Okay, Luca, maybe
very last word, because in the end, money talks. I mean, what is the challenge? What is the price of this challenge? We are talking about 100,000 euros. So that is offered by Caracol and the Orbit for this challenge. So you see, when I was saying it's a concrete outcome that we want to see out of this GSEW, how to be more concrete than that?
Okay, so from the competition is officially launched on Monday. The terms and conditions and all the rules to apply for the competition will be published on the commercialization website of the European Space Agency. So I would like to ask to make a picture of this moment between the three entities, maybe a shaking hands or something like that. And,
This is the harder part.
thanks a lot.
Thanks to Davide Giardino. Now, our morning theme is the promotion and boosting space and entrepreneurship. For the first session about the role of ASI, ESA, and the European institution, the moderator is Augusto Camarossa, Head of Strategic Area Coordination and Space Economic Unit of ASI. Prego.
Good morning, everyone. I have the pleasure and the privilege of being the moderator of the next session, the next panels of this morning. Quite important role, and in particular, the first session. In the first session, we will have a presentation of the main ASI activity, and I will show you in a few minutes. And then we will have an intervention of European Innovation Council, then the European Investment Bank, and we will finish the first panel with EUS, but it is the European Union Space Program Agency. So we will have a little bit an overview of the activities that are done in Italy, in the Italian Space Agency, and also in particular in the framework of Europe and the European Union. So if I may, I would start. I'm trying to be very short and maybe try to find a few minutes maybe for some questions, because I've seen that the previous intervention have, in particular the one made by the National Space Office in the presidency of the Council of Ministers, made by Mauro Piermaria, had created a lot of interest. So maybe I would have to try to find 5 minutes maybe for some questions. And so I try to be short with the presentation on ASI. Okay, this first view graph is only, I don't want to show you many numbers, but what is interesting, because there are a lot of studies on the result, which are the result of new space or space economy. Something has attracted our interest in the past months, because we've compared a little bit what is happening in worldwide and what is happening in Europe. And what we are seeing is that, for example, if we compare upstream and upstream, we can see that at European level, the development of downstream is much lower than what is obtained in the upstream. particular, we can see that this is related to the public investment, but okay, I was referring to the next slide. So we have an increased public investment in Europe, while in USA we have a huge increase in private investment. And so I was referring a little bit to what has been said by Mauro before. This is the one that I was referring to. So here you can see that we have for the if we compare worldwide and Europe, we have 29% of Europe. Europe has 29% for the upstream in comparison to the total, while only 24% for the downstream. But if you look at the number, the overall market for downstream is 250 billion of euro to be compared with 30 billion of euro. So we would like only to show, and to be a little bit provocative, to say that we have if we could reach for the downstream 29% instead of 24%, so if we could increase of 5%, we will have a number in absolute terms that is very much higher than what we have in the downstream. So what I want to say is that we should develop the downstream because the real market is there, and Europe and Italy in particular can do a lot for the downstream. So this is only just to break a little bit the ice. Yes, the ice. And okay, now a few biographies to show what is doing ASI, the Italian Space Agency. I would skip here. We have a quite impressive increase of the staff of ASI, because now we are 426. We were 200 a few months ago, a few years ago. The budget also is increasing a lot. Here we have a picture of the Italian industry, more than 300 companies, about 8,000 employees, and also a distribution of the companies around Italy. And you can find this information in the catalog that is in our website. So if you go to the Italian Space Agency website, you can have a lot of information, and also a lot of information related to the companies that are included in the catalog. That now is we have around 200 companies. Something has been already said now. So now we have a sort of new space race. So we have a public government budget that is increasing a lot, but also, as I said, we said before, a strong increase of private resources. And clearly, the financial firms are focusing on the return on investment, and also they are looking for commercial maturity in order to invest. So this scenario, this situation, is now creating new drivers for space. In particular, these new drivers are cost reduction, the fact that we have a new investor, in particular venture capitalists and barons and late-stage global investors. What we need is also to identify new application. I mentioned before the fact that the downstream is much lower developed with respect to the upstream. And this is something quite strange, because at least from our point of view, the downstream, if we have spin-off or small companies, it is easier because you have lower barriers to start working downstream, because you can use data that are available mainly for free. And clearly now we have also a completely different situation in terms of geopolitics, because you know that the conflict has created a lot of new reflection. In particular, yesterday we mentioned the strategy, the space strategy for security and defense. So what does mean? So these aspects are creating the need for public entities to check, verify their role, and
And clearly, this is what we are saying, what we are doing in the Italian Space Agency. So we are trying to enlarge our role, to improve our role, in particular for what concerns space economy. Here you can see in this picture which are the main area where we want to work, and we want to increase our support. In particular, I mean the support for startup. We would like to promote idea generation, to support incubation and acceleration. I will show you what we are already doing. Clearly, we have also technology transfer, and dedicated financial tool is something that also is an objective. In addition, private-public partnership and equities, and we are also performing, and we would like to continue to perform socio-economic impact studies in order to the sustainability has been mentioned before by Mauro, so this is another important aspect that we are considering. Here you can see we try to put all together what ASI, the Italian Space Agency, is doing in the various steps, starting from idea generation, incubation, acceleration, venture capital, and financial actors, and the impact on market. So you can see here, maybe I don't know if it's easy to read all the names that are reported in this chart, but we have for the different phases: technology development, commercialization, impact, what we are doing as ASI, or maybe through the support to Cassini, for example, Galileo Masters. There are a lot. We have, for example, is a business incubator, and the big business incubator centers in Italy. Now we have 5. Acceleration, Italian Space Agency is now a partner of Space Founders. We have signed a few weeks ago. We had also this week, at the beginning of this week, in Rome, the demo day of the 3rd round. Clearly, see Cassere Positive Press, the takeoff. I mean, primo space for what concerns venture capital, and we will have an intervention later on. So this is mainly what we are doing, and then we have maybe I can skip all of this. Maybe this is quite important because here you can see the location of the different business incubator centers that we have. The ESA business incubator centers that are supported by Italy in the frame of Italy Space Founders I mentioned before, and this is our contribution to the ESA optional program scale up. So we have already subscribed 5 million euro. This is in a single chart what Asia has done in the last 4 years. I don't want to read all of this, but maybe to spend a few minutes on the conclusion. So, which is our goal today? Our goal is to boost as much as possible space economy, to provide a concrete and stronger support to entrepreneurship and innovation. Sustainability is something that for us is a must. So we've got to promote sustainability to face the global challenges that we have, in particular in terms of regulation. We're working with other public entities, in particular with the direction of Mauro Piermaria, but also with other international partners. You have seen that now we are working with UNESCO in the Space Founder, and here the last point is what, maybe if you have a few minutes, I don't know, I have not checked how long was my intervention, but we really would like to have from you, for all the Italian space community, some feedback, some suggestion also, and comment to what we are doing, because we try to do our best in order to increase and to facilitate the growing of the Italian space ecosystem and community. So, before giving the floor to the next speaker, maybe a couple of minutes for any possible question on what was said before by Mauro or by myself in the Space Agency. So I don't know if someone of you has some question to be Stefan, okay? You told me before. Maybe you need a microphone. magari vieni qui con me, non so se, I don't know if the question is for me or for Mauro.
Well, yeah, it's a question about a comment. So, like, I was very interested in the presentation from Mauro because there were all the right questions, all the right points are very highlighted. And also, if you see to the presentation of Italian Space Agency, I mean, there are a lot of initiatives from the institutions. So, actually, if you want to be provocative, I'd like to reverse the questions for once. Like, what from industry we can do? Because sometimes I wonder, maybe there's something wrong from our side. Because I mean, the right questions are there, some instruments are there. So what's missing from our side? So probably, I don't know, we could make more a group, a system of a system. We could make more strategic partnership among us. We could try to put competition aside. I mean, what do you guys think that from an industry point of view we should do really to grasp this opportunity in the best way? Sometimes I want, maybe sometimes I think it's our fault.
Thanks for your question. It's very interesting. So first time I don't heard it's always fault for the public. So it's not our fault. It's over there, which is a very interesting step. I mean, what you say is very interesting. Of course, the public has a very important role, but what you say is very important. Also, the companies and startups need to take a little bit a step ahead. So, for example, what I say then really true about the risk-taking approach of the startups, for me, is one of the points. I mean, it's not relevant for your startups, not anymore. I mean, the orbit is not anymore a startup, but it's a case success, you know. They just started in the incubation process. They went all through this process. Now they are very important international global player, still trying to grow again and facing some problems as well, you know, to try to have the huge capital you should need for your vision, because I know Lucas Rossetti want to be a very important player in the world. So it's a lot of capital. So apart for your case, I mean, I think that the risk-taking approach for the startups is a very important point. So probably culturally in Italy, we need to think that failure is an option. And being in the space is the contrary. We usually say failure is not an option. We say the agency has a. But in this case, I think the startups has to start thinking that failure is an option. Because if you start at the beginning with a risky, obviously, plan, you could have probably suddenly more huge capital flowing from you. Because investor, and talking with Matteo Cascinari of Primo Space, if a venture capital fund want to have 10 times the investment, 20 times the investment, obviously they have to go to the risky proposal, because if they go to the proposal with quite obviously you already have the product already in place, you already, I don't say you already flew, but more or less you have the engineering model, so obviously the risk is less and the profit is less. I mean, it's a real economic law, which is very easy. So this is the first point. The second one, yes, I agree, probably the startups world needs to gather together, because it's very important that your experience is flowing to the new one, because you went through, process, problem, and maybe some lesson learned can be passed to the newcomers, to the new startups. Try to help them to, not go through the same problem you had, probably to fix it. But probably this gathering around some kind of coordination will be very beneficial for the startups network and also, let me say, new. Because I see that it's very important that just the question, things about the Space Founder Accelerator. It's very important because this is a European accelerator. Putting startups, I know very well because I was at the beginning of this story. Putting startups from other countries in Europe working together is very important for the competition and help the growth of all the startups, because you confront yourself with all their experience, maybe in some camp ahead of you, in some other field you can help the other, but the competition and the the challenge among the others in European stage, I think is very important, beneficial for the Italian ecosystem.
Thank you, Mauro.
That's quickly. This is super important what you said, and actually you could already see the solution there. So one solution could be not only help startups succeeding, but also failing. Because when startups fails, the problem is that those persons don't have a job anymore, and that is scary, right? So some measure to help a startup saying, okay, you review risk, I take some part of the risk, and moreover, if you fail, I will help you to not starving, basically. So that could be really something that could help most of the startups, maybe.
A very interesting discussion. Thank you a lot to both of you. And I think I don't see any other question. I'd like to continue with the program because I'm afraid that it's going to be too long. Ok, so thank you, and if you mi confermate che ci siamo collegati? Ok, so I would like to give the floor to Stella Chakova of the European Innovation Council. Stella, I hope that you can listen me and don't see you. Stella, are you? Stella? Stella, you are muted. Stella? Oh, Stella, we see you now, but I don't...
Do you hear me well? Yes, can you hear
very,
me?
very low. Maybe
okay.
Could you be closer to the mic?
Yeah, do you hear me better now?
No. Just wait a minute.
Okay, I'll share my presentation anyway, yeah?
Try again.
Hello, do you hear me clearly?
A little bit lower.
Hello, do you hear me clearly?
Try to be closer to the mic, Stella, because...
Okay, I'll stop my camera then, and I'll be like
yes,
that.
maybe.
Do you hear me better now? Yeah?
No, it's the same. But okay, let's try.
Okay, so let's see, because it seems I cannot... I stop presenting again. Let's try the presentation.
Could you turn the volume up of your microphone?
Yes, it is turned, my volume up. And I'm trying to change my slides, but it seems to be an issue. So just a second. I will do it again. Do you hear me better now or not?
No, Stella. I'm sorry.
Do you hear me? The slides are moving. Do you hear me better or not at all? Hello?
Okay.
I think, yeah, it's okay. Perfect. Okay. So I will be quick and to the point. The European Innovation Council is the third pillar of Horizon Europe. So the EIC funds high-risk, game-changing innovations. In the space industry, we support the process of high-risk innovation, demonstration, and commercialization through our EIC transversal programs, Pathfinder, Transition, and Accelerator. And as you can see on the right hand, we our space mission, we support the enabling also space technology. We support upstream and downstream innovations too. Okay, and I don't know why I cannot change my next slide. There seems to be an issue. Sorry, I will reshare once again my slides. Do you see my slides clearly? Hello? Hello, do you see my slides?
Yes,
So
yes,
the,
yes.
the EIC programs are Pathfinder, Tier 1 to Tier 4, which is for consortiums, for research and innovation, for game-changing one. And we have usually universities, research institutes, and also we have SMEs, mid-caps. And then once they finish the projects, they can apply for transition. And the one which is most interesting for you is the accelerator one, where individual SMEs can apply for 2.5 in grant and up to 15 for above. So some examples of our EIC space projects from our portfolio. Space debris sustainability, we have active debris removal using tethers for removing space debris, ground optical station for monitoring, enabling space technologies. Actually, just on the 15th of April, we had 2 projects which launched on the SpaceX Transporter 2. One was for actuator for iodine propulsion. We also have a number of Earth observation ones, Crop Cloud, Hive, Ion Market, and Skyfora. So, some global recognition. Most of you are subscribed for Aerospace of America, so you know very well what are the projects. So having a EIC project on the annual review of the AI is a big honor. And I was really just reading the magazine by accident. I was like, wow, that's really impressive. So our projects are globally recognized. Now, this year work program, we do have 6. So our program is organized in such a way we have the open and we have the challenges. And the open is all bottom-up ideas, and the challenges is particularly on topic. So in this year we have 2. We have a space challenge, which later on I will present to you. And we have one on Pathfinder and we have one on Accelerator. Now, I know that probably some of the community are in the domain of Earth observation, and they probably wonder whether I should apply or I shouldn't apply. You can apply in the open if you're not sure that you fit in the space challenges. Okay, so let's start with the Pathfinder one. So we have 2 space challenges: in space solar energy harvesting for innovative space applications, really preparing for the long-term future. It's a 32 million euros indicative budget. And then we have the Accelerator one, customer-driven innovative space technologies and services, so 65 million. Now, the Pathfinder call will open on the 20th of June, closing on the 18th of October. The Accelerator one has 2 cutoff dates, one on the 7th of June and then in October. So what is the space solar energy harvesting one? I'm not going to dig deep into it, but concepts and technologies for e-space solar energy harvesting, collection, conversion, and wireless power transmission, looking also at laser and microwave wireless power transmission. And also the 4th pillar is innovative green propulsion solution for in-space mobility. These are the challenges. As you can see, if you decide to apply for the Pathfinder one on the right, you're not limited to being 3 partners. You could be also 2 partners from 2 different member states. And then I will dive more in the Accelerator one. When I was preparing the topic, for me it was important: how do we develop interoperable, scalable, affordable, and cost-effective solutions in order to protect our EU space infrastructure? You know, we have more than 10 tons of space debris. And here on your right, you have the Sentinel-1, the impact of debris on antennas. For me, this call is more for looking at projects and innovations that could inspect spacecraft in orbit, augment satellite capabilities, use AI machine learning for collision avoidance, collect space debris, also mature self-assembly in orbit for different applications, perform in-orbit satellite servicing, active debris, or design and construct a microgravity platform, giving opportunity to European researchers who have microgravity research to fly on unmanned microgravity platforms and to scale up disruptive innovation. So here this bullet is linked not only to the upstream, but of course we have Earth observation, navigation, and SATCOM. Here's when I talk about customer driven, it's not only commercial customer driven, but I believe institutional customer driven. So you have spacecraft inspection, collision avoidance, collect and recover. I'm not going to go too much deep into it because I have just a few minutes to present. And again, some examples, iOS, ADR, end of life, but both of cooperative and non-cooperative objects. So that's very important to remember. And here are some actually the most relevant links. So you have the work program 2023, the InfoSpace Days, the Pathfinder. And if you decide to apply for the Pathfinder, do please look at the portfolio considerations because they are the guiding document in complementarity to the work program to understand how we select actually the projects under Pathfinder. And then you have Accelerator, you have the Info Day, and in case any of you has some great idea about future work program topics, please put it in the EIC horizon scanning. And this is the long-term future which I foresee. So thank you very much for your attention. I think
Thank you, Stella. I hope that you have listened the applause here in the room. Thank you for the presentation, for the three different instruments and programs that we have explained to us. There is also in your presentation the reference to the work program, so we had a lot of information. I think that all the interested companies could use your website. But if I may, Stella, I would like to ask you a question that I have not anticipated to you.
Okay.
So, could you tell us, share with us, which is the EIC consideration on the Italian community? I mean, how do you consider the Italian participation to the EIC programs? If you
well, it's very good, I would say. Actually, on the last cutoff, we had the most number of companies were Italian, so no worries.
Okay.
The Italian participation is very active. I was actually in Space Veneto, Italy last week talking about our second accelerator challenge and presenting it. There is very strong interest. I believe you have a very vibrant and dynamic space industry. Augusto, I'm really sorry, but I need to go for my other meeting.
Okay.
So, but I will send you the presentation which you can share with the community. I think that's important that you have the full presentation. Okay?
Stella, thank you very much for your participation and your availability. And okay.
Thank you, Augusto, for the invitation.
Ciao,
Looking
ciao,
forward
grazie.
to see you soon. Bye, ciao.
Okay, so I think that this was really an interesting presentation, and EIC is really an opportunity. Then, if you confirm me, I'm going to give the floor to Fabrizio Moggero of the European Investment Bank. Fabrizio, I see you. I hope that the connection could be better than the previous one because we couldn't hear very well Stella. Please. You are mute.
Moment. Hello everyone.
Okay.
Nice to meet you. Do you hear me?
Yes, even if
this is my
low,
best.
but I think that is our problem here. Okay.
Yeah, because at 100%. Super. Okay. I don't see the audience, but I can start very soon with my presentation. I work in European Investment Bank at Senior Investment Office. I hope you see my presentation now.
Yes.
So First of all, European Investment Bank, it's a so-called multilateral lender. We are defined an IFI, International Financial Institution. We were established in 1958 through the Treaty of Rome, and we provided since then 1.5 trillion plus financing. As of today, we have 500 billion asset under management, and on average, every year we provide financing between EIB, European Investment Bank, and European Investment Fund, which is our subsidiary, something like 75 billion financing through intermediate loans to banking, corporate loans, structured products, guarantees, and investment in funds. So going directly to the what we have done in the space sector. So I would say the line is 2020. Not because of COVID, but because until 2020, basically the EIB financed with the normal corporate loans, big companies in the space sector, like as you see in my chart, Ariaspace, SES, OHB. In Italy, we finance Aviospace, other big companies, what was so-called old space. And since 2020, we have started to use our venture debt loan, which is an unsecured loan that usually we provide to startups, which are backed already by venture capital. Usually we deploy this instrument after the Series A or Series B, because of course this is a debt that is going to companies that are still burning cash, so they cannot provide big guarantees in terms of cash flows. But yeah, this instrument is partially backed by European Commission, and we started with the Spire in Luxembourg, which is currently listed. The Orbit, that, as you know, is the Italian company, and then we did also Hybrid through the ESI fund that Stella mentioned before, where EIB on the ESI fund is acting as financial advisor. And then, as you see, we closed also Endurosat in Bulgaria, Kairos in France, GomSpace in Denmark, Space in Italy is not yet closed, but I would consider it in our portfolio. And then we finance an additional upgrade of broadcasting services of SES. So our, let's say, at a glance, this slide represents our product offering as of today, and we still increasing our tools, trying to cover most of the TRL. So let's say the first two lines are dedicated to, I would say, the first line is EIF, it's Cassini. Was called the Space Equity Pilot at the beginning, but now it's the Cassini program. It's a 600 million program in funds of funds. So basically, EIF, thanks to the also partially commitment of the European Commission, it's a 600 million funds of funds. They are creating equity funds specialized in space. As of today, we invest in Italy in Primo Space, Orbital Ventures, and also Luxembourg Future Fund. But as of today, our portfolio includes already 6-7 funds. There is OTB, other funds that they do deep tech, but also with specific focus in space. Then we have, let's say, this equity, this Cassini should cover the early stage part, so from the TRL 4 to TRL 8. Then you have you see ESI fund. We are only financial advisor on this, and Stella explained very well before my presentation how ESI fund works. So basically, once the startup has been selected through the European Commission process, once it's shortlisted, the file comes to a dedicated team in EIB, and we structure the deal on the equity part. As you know, ESG fund, as Stella told you, is a blended financing, a mix of grant and equity investment. And then there is the venture debt, which is our core, let's say, core product at the moment for space. We deployed over the last 3 years since Spire almost 100, 110 million. We have a very good pipeline at the moment, and we should double this year our commitment to space. And I also listened to the presentation of Augusto before, and I would say we both support upstream and downstream, and I agree with Augusto that in our view, what we are seeing that the margins in the upstream are squeezing, and most of our clients are trying to consolidate their presence through M&A. Eutelsat bought OneWeb. SES, as you may know, is trying to buy another company, which is good for the European ecosystem in the upstream. But I would say the downstream appears quite more interesting at the moment. That's why we are focusing also our effort in however, in downstream, even if of course the upstream is more interesting in terms of technology development. With the venture debt, we finance tickets from 7.5 million to 40 million ticket size. We support 50% of the research and development over 3 years business plan. So basically, we finance startup with an investment R&D plan in 3 years from 15 million to 80 million, because we finance 50%. We finance basically TRL 7, 8, 9. So we need to have the validation of the prototyping phase already there. In the space sector, in upstream, for example, we require the flight heritage of the device, or at least the components of the device. Or if we are in a downstream providing services, we want to have at least a client base on top of the institutional clients like ESA or ASI, sorry, or other space agencies. So this is more or less, so it's a product designed mostly for the late stage startups. And then we have the corporate debt, which is our, let's say, historical product through which we finance Arianespace, Avio, and with a ticket size of 15 million, but usually we try to stay always on above the 100 million ticket size. And with this, as you see in my chart, we finance Eutelsat, Ariane, and SES. So the orbit in Italy was the main, our flagship, is our flagship at the moment. As you know, the orbit is undoubtedly the most interesting space company at the moment in Italy. I would say also in Europe. It's we have followed the orbit since 2016. So since they started with the race D3. And then once they presented us with the ION, the now that is the space taxi, generally named, we understood that there was a market, and in fact we closed a deal in 2020. We closed a deal incredibly in July 2020, in the middle of the COVID, the pandemic, but if you remember, Avio failed launch that quarter, so it was a very tricky period, but we were keen that the orbit was a good, successful investment for us. And
Richard, here we have Stefano Antonetti, who is carefully listening to you. Stefano Antonetti is the representative of the orbit.
Okay, well I don't know Stefano very well, but I've been talking with Luca Rossettini every month, so there is a reciprocal, mutual sharing of our view on the orbit. Just to finish this presentation, why we invest in the orbit, because EIB is also the climate bank, so we try to see anytime some angle that could represent a technology fighting against the climate change. And for us, the orbit is very interesting. We provided also an interesting article on newspapers a few years ago where we put the orbit as a sustainable company that on top of the technology developed in space activities is able to also provide health observation, data delivering about weather, ocean monitoring, pollution. They launched several satellites of university involving also in this activity, and for us was very valuable. On top, of course, of the fact that the orbit has a valuable technology. We believe in the acceleration of the scale up. I don't know, maybe Stefano has more updated figures, but I guess they launched already between 7 and 11 Ion, which is remarkable for sure. And on top of that, there are also the service part, the cloud-based software they are developing with important software providers. So we still believe in the orbit. We think we can further support through other instruments the development plan of the orbit. And I would stop here. If I have question, I would be glad to answer now. Or this is my these are my contact details. Feel free to contact me by email, also on LinkedIn, and I'm available. Thanks a lot.
Grazie, thank you very much, Fabrizio. Grazie molto, because you have shared with us very short time all the instruments, and also shown the complementarity of the different instruments, the EIBs. So I don't know if there are questions here in the room. That's not the case. So Fabrizio, grazie molto. Thank you a lot for your availability, for your clear presentation, and I would move to the next speaker.
Thank you.
Grazie ancora Fabrizio, grazie veramente. Speriamo magari di essere insieme la prossima volta, di avere the possibility of being present together. I see the screen now Valeria Catalano, IUSPA, and Valeria, the floor is yours, please.
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Okay. I'm now sharing the slides. Just 1 second. Can you see the slides in Okay, can you see the slides in presentation? Oops, sorry. Okay. Okay, thanks a lot. My name is Valeria Catalano, working in the Market Downstream Innovation Department of the European Union Agency for the Space Program. And today I will quickly present the agency. I'm not able to move the slides. Sorry, just 1 second. Let's see if I manage. Okay, I should have solved the problem. Okay, so now I can start. Okay, thanks. EUSPA is the European Agency for the Space Program, and we are in charge of many activities, not only Galileo and EGNOS, where we have to provide the continuous service. We are in charge of the operation, the evolution, and the protection of infrastructure, but we work also with other space programs, GovSatcom and Copernicus, and for all space programs, we are in charge transversally to the security tasks, and also we have to foster the use of the space programs, developing downstream application and services. You know which are the space programs that for which we are in charge. EGNOS, that makes the navigation signal more accurate and traceable, and it's used for the safety critical application. It's operational in more than 400 airports. Then there is Galileo, the navigation and timing system, European navigation and timing system that is present in more than 3 billion of Galileo receivers. And then we as EUSPA, we are in charge also of the market downstream of the commercial services developed with Copernicus. We are in charge also of GovSatcom, that is the secure satellite communications for governmental actors, and from July we will be in charge also of the space situational awareness with the front desk activities for the space surveillance and tracking, for the space weather events, and for the near Earth orbits. We at the market downstream department have the main objective to foster the use of the space data for the downstream. We have identified different market segments, in particular 17, that can go from the typical mobility market segments like aviation, road, and maritime, to consumer solutions, to environment, and so on. For all the market segments, we work transversally through all the market segments, and we have organized our activities in 3 main pillars. One is the market and user knowledge, for which we monitor the market and analyzing the trends, the forecast for the 4 space program components. And we have a second pillar that is the demand support, where we support users and stakeholders via different tools like the fora, workshop, and so on. And then we have a third pillar that is the offer creation. Under the offer creation, we have all the research and innovation activities, where also Cassini is included. Just let me tell you that in our website are available 2 important publications that I invite you to download. One is this space market report focused on GNSS and Earth observation. You can download the publication that is considered a very important publication, where you will find for each market segment which are the trends, the forecast of the market. And then we have recently published also this EU Space for Green Transformation, where it is also an important report that includes the Green Deal and the implications, which are the implications for companies, and there are important examples on how various industries are leveraging their sustainability growth. I was saying that we are in charge of the RNI activities. We have for the downstream, we have several space RNI activities. One of these is the famous Horizon Europe for the development of services and application. Then we have another technological R&D program that is fundamental element. This is mainly focused on EGNSS and as an objective the development of technologies. And then there is Cassini. Cassini, that is the initiative for entrepreneurs, startups, and SME. And now I will focus on Cassini. Cassini is the European Commission initiative that supports, as I was saying, the entrepreneurs, startups, SME in the space industry for the period 2021-2027. This is an initiative that is transversal to all the space programs, so going from navigation to space observation and secure communication, and covers the upstream with the NOSAT launchers and so on, but also the downstreams with products and services that are developed using the space data. And the EUSPA has been delegated by the European Commission for the downstream activities. And Cassini, is important to say, that supports the entrepreneurs at a different stage of their growth with several tools and fundings. It's a shared activity with the European Commission, ESA, and EIF and the EIB. We were analyzing our RNI activities that in the past. We have seen that Horizon Europe, but also the fundamental elements are not the right tools for the SMEs and the startup. And complementing what Mauro Piermaria was saying in a few minutes ago, we have seen that the SME and the startups were in the past receiving mainly public funding, but we thought that there was the need to give them also private funding in order to scale up. So why there is the need to have this Cassini? Cassini is this initiative that is trying to address the gaps and the needs that were identified at European level. We have seen that first the startups have their needs and require specific instruments to develop, but also to scale up. And these instruments should complement, as I was saying, Horizon Europe and other funding initiative. But what is the most important need that we identified is the lack of venture capital funds focused on making investment in the space companies. So for these reasons, Cassini was created and supports the entrepreneurs, as I was already said, for different stages of their growth, from the launch, development, and the scale up. It's an initiative that gives to the entrepreneurs and startups equal opportunities. It's an initiative that is inclusive, where we give equal opportunities in terms of gender balance. For example, I'm proud to say that there are a lot of female entrepreneurs, and with the geographical distribution. And what is important is that Cassini, there are no big players or small players in the Cassini initiative. Cassini has different tools, very important. So if we see in the slide, and we start from the left side of the slide, we the different tools of Cassini, we can say that there are the Cassini hackathons and mentoring that are the tools that have as objective the creation of new ideas. We have several hackathons, and we developed, for example, in the last year, more than 500 hackathons ideas per year. Then, starting from the ideas and going to develop disrupting technologies, we have a different tool that is this Cassini prizes. For example, we have the Maritime Prize and the MyU Space, and also these prizes are very important, and we develop more than 50 products from prizes, from all the Cassini prizes each year. Then, in order to support the economic growth of the startups and the SMEs, we have the Cassini Business Accelerator. This is an initiative that started a few weeks ago, and has the objective to offer entrepreneurs qualified business development support to, for example, develop go-to-market plans, expand their business networks, and so on. Then another important tool is the matchmaking, where we closely support to start up, scale up companies and SME in order to improve their ability to attract venture capital funding and form and create industrial partnership. So with this matchmaking, we try to connect the SMEs with venture capitalist funds. And then, for example, also in this case, we try to connect a big number of startups per year. Then the last tool is this InvestEU, where we try to provide capital to venture capitalist funds that will be then further invested in space companies. So this was the overview of the tools that we have within the Cassini initiative, that we as a USPA are working, on which we as a USPA are working. You will find, if you connect to the USPA website, all the specific and relevant information following this link that is cassini.eu. And also in this case, I invite you to consult our website. So, yes. I have finished.
I don't know if you have another slide, because we have to close, because we have the coffee break.
No, I'm finishing.
It's not your fault, because we have some delay from the previous.
No. I tried to be fast, but I finished. I just want to highlight the importance of Cassini, just to say that with Cassini you can develop with your solution, you can connect with investors, you can get advice, technical and business advice, and you can find new customers. But all these information are present in our website, so if you want more detailed information, you can or contact me and my colleagues, or you can connect and consult our EUSPA website. So with this,
I would like to ask you some questions, but unfortunately We have now a huge delay, so we are.
Okay, so from my side, I have finished, and I thank you for participating into this event, and I'm available for any.
For your availability,
connection.
Valeria. Thank you very much. Grazie.
Ciao, bye.
Thanks, Augusto and the other panelists. The program includes now a short break for coffee break for 15 minutes. Thanks. Lorenzo Scatena, Secretary General Fondazione Edoardo Amaldi. Edoardo Amaldi è friend of Enrico Fermi. Prego.
Thank you for the invitation. Thank you to Mr. Acerno, to the European Space Agency, the Italian Space Agency, and to, last but not least, Luca Del Monte. They gave me the chance to skip the line. I'll try to squeeze as much as possible my presentation because I know he also has a tough schedule. So, I will revolve my presentation in about two aspects. Firstly, very quick, very briefly overview of the Fondazione Amaldi, for those unfamiliar with it, and then I will dedicate 2 minutes more to the program for which the Amaldi Foundation is more or less best known, let's say the business application platform for Italian ESA bus program. So the foundation has been established in 2017 by the will the Italian Space Agency and Research Consortium Pazia to support technology transfer processes in the space sector as a fundamental tool for the growth of the country. This is happening through 6 departments that both foster technological talent and improve tech solutions. So providing solutions to help technology transfer processes, support access new markets, and realize finance for innovation tools. A lot of networking and cross-fertilization and future trend exploitation, which means the ability of space ecosystem to intercept innovative services and needs or ideas. Basically, Fondazione Amaldi activities to connecting dots in this ecosystem. The foundation is a data-driven organization, so works with and on data, meaning that proceeds with a review, a map of regulatory landscape at national, regional, and local level, and then compares these informations with data coming from various sources and validated with or by empirical experiences in comparison with front-end operators like investors, incumbents, non-space incumbents, etc. This means that between the main activities of the foundation is to map, disseminate, promote activities, not just its activities, of course. Doing that, we try not to have just a national but also a European overview, collaborating with various partners, managing the European projects, and trying to accelerate activities and opportunities for startups, also and scale-ups, also through partnership and collaborations like GSEW that we'll talk later, we'll present later, but also Copernicus Relay and ESA quite often as a main partner. These are just some of our events that we organize or participate in. Are fairly well known, so I'm not spending time on that. The second topic I wanted to present is the PIT, let's say the Platform Promoting Business Application program of the European Space Agency. In my opinion, it's a it's an extremely interesting tool and useful tool, the potential of which, in my opinion, has not yet been fully understood by the national business ecosystem. The platform is providing zero equity funding, up to €2 million, but at the same time it also provides commercial and technological validation of significant networking opportunities. opportunities. And I have to say that many ideas that have transformed into financial and industrial ventures by foundation partners have emerged directly or indirectly from this platform. Another great opportunity connected with this program is that the PASS program is part of a network. In Italy, it's part of a network operating at European level. So it's seeking to create also cross-border connections, collaborations, to overcome some of the difficulties that Mauro Piermaria was mentioning during his speech. So, identifying market opportunities, creating an ecosystem, networking, forging a common road to discover raw diamonds. The interactions between space and non-space provided by the PASS program is quite wide, spanning from basically all the terrestrial sectors, vertical industrial sectors, with interactions or through the interactions with the 5 main space technologies, primarily downstream but also partially upstream. There are 2 ways to approach the program. The first one, the direct negotiation. Let's say a call that is always open, accessible at any time on any technological subject, and that offers through fixed steps the opportunity to have also fixed timelines on the path the proposal is taking the approval process in the European Space Agency. The second way to approach the program is the open competition, which is divided into kickstart activities and in ITT, depending on the type of applicants, maybe. If they're startups or non-space startups. Anyway, as the name suggests, it's an open competition against other competing players on a specific field selected by ESA. So the ESA discretion is minor, having to reward the best ideas given a certain budget available. In this case, it's also needed there is a need for a pre-authorization, so from the Italian Space Agency, kind of activity coming directly from the startup, or not just the startup, because these kind of programs are open to startups, SMEs, but also big companies, corporations, incumbents, non-space incumbents. Anyway, this is the only case in which the startup itself has to worry about engaging the National Space Agency. But there is, in any case, a close correlation between ASI and ESA, the national delegate coming from the Italian Space Agency and the European one on the topic. Okay, this is something that has not been used a lot, so it's something, if startups are in the audience, to look at, and it's quite easy to find information about this program on the website of the European Space Agency, just typing ESA business applications or in the web pages of the APIT. I will just spend 2 more words to talk about my personal view related to what Mauro Piermaria and Augusto Cramarossa already said. In my opinion, the recent thing is that a lot has been done in the last 5 years since the foundation has been established. Important structures have emerged as a result of governmental initiative. We have some collaborations with some of these structures. On the cybersecurity topic, there is a strong competence center based in Rome for cybersecurity, but also in Turin. They are paying a lot of effort into keeping the 5G team 5G coming from satellite infrastructure as a complement of terrestrial 5G. So the ecosystem is quite rich. Okay, thank you. Now the ecosystem is quite rich. There are several SABICs, at least 2 private accelerators, one in Rome, one in Turin, and one at European level, as already mentioned, and almost 5 Italian VCs operating in this sector. Well, not totally, just one totally dedicated to the space sector. They already mentioned Primo Space. Some of them partially, but strongly partially dedicated to the space technology. And one of them is also fully dedicated to technology transfer processes. I agreed on the fact that a lot has been done, but there is just a point to stress, in my opinion, before leaving the floor. According to recent data, the space landscape in the near future could be very different from what we have been trained to in the last 13 years. Use of space for explicit military purposes, and also financial interest rates going up, which change completely the approach to investors. Lack of financial exit for investors, the failure of SPACs initiatives that demonstrated that something is going wrong. So, in my opinion, what is absolutely what is needed is just to boost collaborations between actors. Basically, all the ingredients are ready for the recipe, but we have to understand that competition, I mean safe competition, is made to make the cake bigger, not just to take a bigger piece or to leave a smaller slice of the cake for the others. So a lot should be paid in terms also of public activities to strengthen this kind of relations between actors already existing and the newcomers, of course. Okay, better than this was not possible to do, so thank you a lot for your attention, and that's it.
The second space is for Luca Del Monte about innovation. Is a big network opportunities for startups.
So, thank you very much again on the podium today for the last time, I promise. This time is to present to you the ESA Business Incubation Program, which is a very successful program that started more than 15 years ago. Very humble in the premises of ESA, and today has progressed quite a lot, as I'm trying to show to you now. So, let's see. Okay. So today we are, I'm managing in my department 4 different networks, and when I say networks, we are talking about professionals that are deployed on the territory, so all over Europe in 22 member states. The first one is the one in the middle, is the business incubation that I would like to present to you today. The second one is the technology brokers for technology transfer, actually. The third one is a new network that we are going to start to deploy in the next upcoming month is called the network, the PhilAb Net, which is a network of PhilAbs. For those of you who are not familiar with the concept of PhilAb, there is one PhilAb today existing at ESA. It's hosted in Esrin, in Frascati, focusing on artificial intelligence mostly and for Earth observation and big data. Now we would like to replicate the same concept but on other topics ranging from cybersecurity to operations, robotics, quantum. So we have many different types of PhilAb scattered all over Europe. And the last one is a network of partnerships, let's say, to support our startups. And we see now in a second how it works. If I manage to change in the right direction. Okay, here we have. So the ESA Business Incubation Centers network is the largest network of business incubation for space in Europe. Today we have something like 88 physical locations scattered over the entire territory of our 22 member states. I'm going in the wrong direction. Voila, here we have. These 88 physical locations are regrouped in 29 business incubation centers. It's a network that grows at a pace of more than 200 new incubated companies per year, and currently we have more or less 1,500 companies in the alumni of the network. So you understand that, well, business incubation, I don't think that deserves too much for you for an explanation. It's a very well-known concept. However, we have interpreted this concept with a specific twist. So what do we offer in terms of incubation? First of all, we offer, we procure innovation, as we say. So basically we pay the company 50K to acquire the knowledge, the insight about what they are developing. This amount now is under revision. I think that we are moving now to 60K for the new rounds of ESA-BIG. Still, it's a quite modest amount of money. So it's not for the money that companies are joining this network. It's rather for the prestige. It's a question of the quality. The quality stamps that is attached to the fact that they have been selected by an ESA-BIG, by the European Space Agency, of course. The second thing that for this 2 years program, these companies benefits is up to 80 hours of technical support to be provided either by the Space Agency, the European Space Agency itself, or by local partners, depending on the availability of our resources. And then, of course, there is also the office space. That is a concept maybe a little bit old-fashioned in a, let's say, in a society that is now in the post-COVID society, where we are more and more, let's say, using this virtual environment. But at the same time, we think that it's very useful to have a physical location where companies, at least from time to time, can meet and exchange their experience. The question of the incubation is really about sharing experience and developing entrepreneurship approach and spirit. So it is based essentially on human contacts as well. So it's not that much on the technology part, but it's rather on developing the soft skill and hard skill of business. Try to move again. Okay. What do we offer? Yes, we just say, so the use of the ESA-BIG brand, technical support, and also access to our other networks. So as I mentioned to you before, we are running multiple networks, and in particular the network of the ESA Partnership Initiative for Commercialization, which we call EPIC. And I also try to move this, and clearly pushing on the wrong one. Here it is. This network is a network of partners, big companies, mid-cap companies, institutions, which are offering, has decided to partner with ESA to offer their product or services at better than market conditions to our incubatees for along the period of incubation. This is a win-win, say, solution, because on one side our incubatees can start using, let's say, product and services which are, let's say, usually beyond the capability and the reach of small companies, and at the same time for the large corporation which are entering in our partnership also the opportunity to penetrate a new market and getting at early stage new customers. This is a network which is growing. We say that we have 8 partners. Actually, since this week we have 9, because now we have also ICE, who has joined. Is a Finnish very successful SAR, so synthetic aperture radar constellation company. So they are providing also then their products to our companies. Here you see we have also Airbus, Planet, Synergize, Euroconsult, and Dassault next to us. And then there is also the access to the network of investors. This is a very important aspect, as you can imagine, for incubated companies. I mean, usually these companies are looking actively for investors, for investment. Now we have a selected club of 30 partners, mostly VC plus some private equity as well, and we organize regularly demo days, opportunities for these communities to meet, and it's clear that there is a reciprocal advantage in this case, because our investors are looking for investment opportunities, so the so-called deal flow. You understand that with 1,500 companies growing at a pace of 200 per year, this is a very important basin and pots and tanks of opportunities for investors. And on the other side, obviously, the companies that are looking for money. At the same time, we also have let's say a partnership with the European Investment Bank and European Investment Fund, which for the more mature companies, let's say, have products that are more adapted for the more mature companies. But I would say that I can't present many slides on this topic, but it's even better that you hear from the words of somebody who is living currently this experience, Astrodyne in this case. Please come on stage. Astrodyne is a company that is incubated in Turin, so they are halfway in the incubation period. So with that, I leave you in peace. Now I promise I will not be on podium any longer, and please, let's say, tell us something about your experience as an incubator.
Thank you, Luca. Hi, everyone. I'm glad to be here to share our experience. I'm Alessia Gloder. I'm the CEO of Astrodyne. And Astrodyne, as Luca mentioned, is a startup incubated in Ezabik in Turin since 2 years. We have been funded since 2 years and incubated since 1. We are located in Bari, so not too many kilometers far from here. And our focus is on deployable structures for the aerospace sector. In particular, our first product is a solar panel based on the origami technique, and which lies on textile. So you can imagine a kind of a solar panel wrapped around the satellite, and it's quite scalable concept. So imagine like a very wide solar panel which provides up to 50% more power than current solutions, but in a very tiny space, and also in a very light configuration. Now, talking about our experience with Ezabik, as I mentioned, we are halfway of what is a period of 2 years of incubation. And I have to say that this support spread in time, like 2 years, it's really valuable for a startup, for us, but for each startup incubated. Because in 2 years, a startup changes a lot. So they always say that a startupper should not fall in love with the technical idea and the specific product, but be open to what the market requires and what clients actually need. And this is very true. Like in 2 years, as a startup, your team expands, your product changes, you understand better the market, you get to know the clients and like shape your product according to what they really need. So this support of 2 years really allow you to change through time and get support through time, because for as much as you can try to diversify your funding team, I mean, as a startup, usually the average amount of person that work there are maybe fitting in one hand or two. So definitely like the feedback and support is welcome. Talking about Astrodyne, for example, for us, it was very important to understand what to do with patents. Should we keep it as an industrial secret? Should we patent our product? And then also get in touch then with the best realities that also have experience with the aerospace sector, because that's also important. We are still talking about like technology. And so creating connections with these realities. But okay, we have been talking a lot about fundraising as well. Okay, should we go for institutional funding? Should we go for private funding? What is the right amount to ask? Are we asking too much? Are we asking too few? What is the right equity? And also creating the connections then. What is the best fund? What is best? Is it like a big fund? Is it like angel investors? So all these kinds of feedbacks that you can ask to your tutors inside is a big, but also the network is important, because talking with other startups that are going exactly through the same endeavor as you are, it's definitely like a value, an added value. And then also the connections that can create with ASI, with ESA, but also with potential partners and clients. And then Luca mentioned like the support to the business. So how to create a business plan. Is your business plan actually working? You have to refine one sections or the other. Is your pitch working? Are you delivering a pitch that really gets to the people? Like, do people understand what you're doing, or are you explaining it well or not? So these are all important feedbacks. Talked about the workspace, like the desk or the training sessions. The technical support, we haven't applied to the technical support yet, but we will now that we are getting into the testing phase, and also ECS and standards, and we'll try to understand more about all of that. And last but not least, also the technical, the funding, like the 50K. Luca was saying it's quite a modest fund amount, but still it's important for a startup. I mean, in our case, we're talking about solar panels. If you get a flight-graded solar cell, it can cost up to 500 euros just one cell. So still, it's important to get all also the monetary support needed. So indeed, it's been a great adventure so far. We still have 1 year left, so let's see what more comes out of it. But we are grateful to be part of the network, to have been one of those 200 startups selected last year. And also we are happy to see that this reality is getting here in Puglia. So we have gone to touring. Now a new reality is getting open here in Puglia. So I guess that closes my little intervention and opens then the next speech. Thank you.
For the experience of ESA Big Brindisi, Mario Erario, Project Manager DTR.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. So today what I'm going to do is to explain to you what will be one of the future nodes of the Italian ESA BIC, so the Apulian one that we are going to start very soon here in Brindisi, in Puglia. We are in the final phases of negotiation with the ESA. We are hoping to sign the deal very soon and start as soon as possible. So the project of ESA BIC Brindisi is a proposal made by the Distretto Tecnologico Aerospaziale and other partners. So the idea behind it is to try to use our systemic vision that we already use in R&D on aerospace and space activities applied to the incubation of new startups, and so the transformation of new business idea in hopefully thriving space businesses that can develop disruptive space technologies. What we are doing here is to make together a series of partners that belong both to our member. So as you can see here, some member of industrial members of the DTA, like Enginsoft, Exprivia, IMT, Planetech, Novotech, Citel, Sysman, were part of the proposal, as well as from academia, so 3 Apulian University, and CNR and Enea, as well as some external partners that will provide other business and technical and legal services to future startups incubated. So Arthur D. Little, Foggia Brewing Partners, GAP, Puglia Sviluppo, that are industrial partners, but also the programs that we are developing, like Grottaglie Airport Test Bed and Drone Living Lab, House of Emerging Technologies, both in Bari and in Taranto, the collaboration with the ETS Aerospace. We are one of the founding members of the ETS Aerospace in Brindisi, and then also the European Digital Innovation Hub. So Grottaglie Airport Test Bed is one of the biggest programs we are carrying out right now. In the airport of Grottaglie, we are creating a very large infrastructure for the experimentation and the development of aerospace services and solutions related to the UAS and the U-space sector. And these also are very related to space, in particular the use of space assets like Earth observation, satellite communication, and GNSS. So it can have a real strong correlation, and the know-how and competence that we are developing here can be useful for the incubated startups. We are also extending this laboratory, this infrastructure, with a recent investment of 11 million euros from Apulia region to create new infrastructure and new laboratories that could be very useful for startups. Another very important synergy can be with 2 projects, the House of Emerging Technologies, both in Bari and in Taranto. In the Bari situation, we are also creating the urban node of the Grottaglie Airport Test Bed, that is the Bari Urban Drone Range. So this is a infrastructure, a location in which also startups can test and develop and experiment their system in a real life scenario to assess if they are market ready and if they work in a real situation. And also Calliope is the House of Emerging Technology in Taranto that is also related to the development of solutions and technologies in the domain of space Earth observation and Earth observation from UAS. So this can be a very good synergy for startups. Also, there is the collaboration that we have with universities, our member universities, Politecnico di Bari, University of Bari, and University of Salento, and the ETS Aerospace. Regarding ETS in particular, now there is the development of new laboratories, specifically for additive manufacturing. So this will allow services of rapid prototyping and testing for new materials and structures, composite structures, and a lab for CubeSat and electronic components. So this can be very useful for startups that will be incubated. And lastly, this is a proposal of the new European Digital Innovation Hub that is going to start very soon. This is one of the verticals that we are going to focus on. So, in collaboration with Campania Space Cluster, we are going to develop this Digital Innovation Hub that will do activities like test before invest, skills and training for SME and enterprises on the aerospace sectors, and also the support to find investment and matchmaking for the companies. So I will be very brief about this because Luca Del Monte already mentioned it. This is the services and the what ESABIC will offer to new startups. So as you can see, 5,000 euros at zero equity funding, mentoring and support on the business side, the technical side, and the legal advice for intellectual property, and also access to physical workspace, laboratories, and infrastructure. As I already mentioned, we can make available to the startups a very good ecosystem in which they can develop their solutions. Last thing, a little bit of a timeline. We hope to stick to that. So in June, we will close the deal for the launch of the ESABIC Brindisi, hopefully. So after that, on October, we will launch the open call. So from that point on, all the startups that want to apply to the ESABIC can, follow the application process. The first cutoff date of 2023 will be about in December, and then so from that point on, startups can continue to apply and to see if they can be selected for going inside the program. So thank you very much. If you want to stay updated to the ESABIC Brindisi, to the development and the news, you can scan this QR code and be updated about everything. Thank you.
It's the moment of the video call with Vito Bavaro, head of Digital Transformation Section della Regione Puglia, about regional action and instruments to support startups. Eccoci qui. Il microfono.
Can you hear me?
Prego, prego, prego.
Can you hear me well? The audio is good? In the meanwhile, I try to share my presentation.
It's okay, it's okay. We listen.
I hope that you can see my presentation. Can you confirm, please?
Yes, you can start.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry, because I cannot see the audience, so thank you very much for the invitation. I'm sorry to not be present with you, but we have some problem today with other institutional meetings. I'm Vito Bavaro, and I work at the Development Department of Puglia Region, which is in charge of support regional policies in competitiveness, attractiveness, innovation of the Apulian economic ecosystem. And I want to today provide you a quick quickly presentation about the regional action and the instruments to support innovation and the startups. First of all, I want to remark where we are. We are in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, and this is very important for the strategic position of Apulia region. And also we have a modern transport infrastructure that allows us to be connected with the rest of the world. Puglia is one of the most dynamic regions in the south of Italy, and due to high levels of activity business and with an ever-increasing international status. In this slide, I put just a snapshot with some figures and some numbers that confirm that was told before. But of course, you can find on the website, on the media, some other data and information that confirm this trend. What is important to underline here is that we have a good number of startups, innovative startups that work in our region, and this number is increasing day by day. Today we have more than 600 of startups in our region and more than 100 innovative small and medium enterprise. And we ranked the second. Apulia ranks second in south of Italy. And what is more important is the trend, because we have a continuous growth of the number of startups in our region. Of course, our programs and our action regarding boosting innovation and startups are inside the framework of the Smart Specialization Strategy of Apulia region, which was updated last year in April. Our strategy aims to the integration of several policies: research and innovation, digital agenda, competitiveness, including the small and medium enterprise, startups, and clustering, the internalization of the business ecosystem of Apulia region, social innovation, employment, and trading. Our strategy identifies three main innovation, production, and value chain, and having a focus on aerospace and space. This innovation chain is under the umbrella of the sustainable manufacturing, but of course there are cross correlation with the health and environment, especially with the green economy and the digital, creative, and inclusive communities with regards to advanced digital services that can be provided by aerospace and space technologies. Inside our Smart Specialization Strategy, we define some specific innovation areas for the space and aerospace sector, some drivers, and also some key enabling technologies that can allow the improvement and the enhancement of our space and aerospace ecosystem. If we see some data from the previous European funding cycle, we can see that the aerospace and space sector received something like 75 million, summing all the of public funding, summing all the programs and action of Apulia region, and this is the third sector overall Apulia region for incoming funding from the regional European program. And also, if you see the percentage of the total funding of Apulia region related to the total amount of the other region Smart Specialization Strategy, we can find that we put 1/3 of the overall national budget of the regional Smart Specialization Strategy of Italian region. Regarding the regional business programs, we offer a wide range of flexible schemes which are designed to facilitate and reduce the cost of investing in Puglia, to support the business growth and innovation, and to improve the competitiveness between the access through the access to new markets. And this kind of regional programs and schemes depends on the nature, of course, of investor, and we have some specific program for innovative startups. What is very important to underline here that regional schemes and regional action have no fixed deadlines for proposal, so they are always open, and even this year that we are closing the past European program and we are beginning the new European program for investment, we don't have a deadline, and we go between one program to the other without any breaking points. Of course, we are supported by Puglia Sviluppo, which is our regional public finance company, and which also provide a technical system to startups and investors. And as we told in the previous presentation, Puglia Sviluppo works also with the clustering that are present, the clusters that are present in Apulia region, and offer also services to startups and innovative new business. Of course, you can find more information on the website of Puglia Sviluppo. Regarding especially the startups, the programs and the action for the startups, the main program, the main regional program is called Tecnonidi, which is still open and will be republished in next month. And Tecnonidi is dedicated to technology and innovative startups, offering an incentive package to help covering the cost of starting and launching a new business in the new region. If you can see, the investment budget should be between 25 to 350 euros, but the eligible investment cost and levels of funding available reach up to the 80% of the overall cost, with a maximum contribution of 280 euros. Tecnonidi, we received in the last 6 years more than 350 applications, and more than 200 projects were already financed, and most of them already closed. And the overall financial contribution is more than 30 million euros, and the 25% of this project are incoming investment coming outside the Puglia region. And we received a high level of customer certification, and for the Italian audience, I can share a link with a recent article by Wired with many success stories of companies and startups which were financed by Tecnonidi program. As I told before, Tecnonidi program will be confirmed in the new future, and also we are thinking about some changes in the program with more advantages for startups which want to invest and open an operational site in Apulia region. Of course, Puglia is supporting also local startups who wish to expand their business in the international market, and we organize a lot of supporting activities, and also in order to establish a partnership and conducting business operation in multiple countries. In this slide, I just show some of the recent and the future opportunity that we give to our startups and also innovative small and medium enterprises to participate to some important appointment around the world. Of course, we have other regional business and regional business programs which are not specific for startups, but even the regional contract program, which is which address large enterprise or the integrated packages, the so-called PIA, which address small and medium-sized enterprise. Also in this program, startups or innovative small enterprise can fund their space in a network with medium and large enterprise. And also for this kind of programs, eligible investment comes and level of final will change in the new scheme, and the work is in progress, and in the next future we will publish the new schemes of these programs. Just some figures, some number about what we have financed specifically regarding aerospace and space sector in the last years. If we see the last European cycle of funding, and as you can see, the level and the amount of money is really relevant. Watching and only specific projects in the aerospace sector. Of course, there are also other projects, maybe in the digital transformation, which are related to space sector that I have not considered in this graph.
Bene, Paolo, abbiamoci alla conclusione, grazie.
Sì,
siamo nei tempi, grazie.
Of course. Just a few words about NIDI, which is another instrument for micro enterprises, but I can leave the presentation with all the details. And we have also some instruments and some programs to support collaborative collaboration between university research centers and enterprises, and just to underline that also the InnoNetwork program address startups and innovative enterprise, and also for this program we are publishing the new scheme in this year, and we have this another important thing to underline, the equity fund, that Equity Puglia, with the 6 million euros that we with a financial engineer tool to give small and medium-sized enterprise and innovative startups the possibility of increasing the level of capitalization. And of course, we will provide more information in the next weeks about this tool. And just to conclude, we have a lot of plans, a lot of programs, a lot of tools to support startups, but we have also what we can see are location advantages and a business environment for startups working in the space sector. And because we play a leading role in the aerospace industry, and aerospace and space industry, as I think was told in the previous presentation, we have the presence, of course, of an active aerospace cluster, fiber university, and we have a vision for our aerospace hub in Taranto Grottaglie. It was told before that Taranto Grottaglie is becoming an Italian center of excellence, and I want to underline that Apulia region put 11 million euros on these programs, co-financed by European community. Just thank you for your attention, and of course you can find more information at this website, and of course I leave you also my email address. I'm sorry if I was a little bit long, but I want to provide a wide range of description of what the Apulia region is doing in this period for startups.
Grazie, molte grazie, thanks. Now it's moment of the support of UniCredit to startups and startuppers. Nicola Cooperato, Area Manager Corporate Puglia, UniCredit, prego.
So, good morning, everyone. As you may know, I'm Nicolo Perato and I'm the Area Manager Corporate for the Apulia region. It's a pleasure for myself to be here with you by representing UniCredit. As most of you may know, UniCredit is a pan-European commercial bank with a unique service offering in Italy, Germany, Central and Eastern Europe. We serve over 15 million customers worldwide, thanks to our 81K people around the world. The key principles of our strategies are the digitalization, the commitment to ESG, the internationalization, and finally, but not less important, the local development of business initiatives. Let's move very fast, also in light of the delay, to the focus to the startup. And let me introduce our unique offering. As UniCredit, we started our journey in the startup world more than 10 years ago, thanks to UniCredit Start Lab. UniCredit Start Lab is a business platform which, as of today, has supported more than 500 startups and 65 open innovation initiatives, leveraging on corporate, financial, and institutional investors, and more than 20 startup partners. UniCredit Start Lab operates through a structured selection process, which starts from an online submission, a first selection phase made by UniCredit, a second stage evaluation where there is an expert committee, and finally the access to Start Lab. The candidates which have access to UniCredit Start Lab will have a specific business support thanks to industrial partnership, investment support leveraging on our specific connection with investors, banking, and technical support through the Startup Academy. In addition, also mentorship programs and ESG support with ad hoc trainings and advisory. Recently, we launched also UniCredit Start Lab for the South in order to support business ideas based in the south of Italy and also to create a link with venture capital investors. Until today, UniCredit Start Lab has received and evaluated more than 7,400 projects in 10 editions, involving more than 200 partners. As of today, around 20% of candidates operate in the innovative Made in Italy sector, which for us includes the aerospace. Two examples of our commitment towards the aerospace industry are represented by Argotec and the Orbit, selected and supported until today thanks to their participation to UniCredit Start Lab. Argotec is an aerospace engineering company with offices in the USA and Italy, engaged in the production of small deep space satellites and the development of engineering solutions to support the comfort of astronauts in orbit. The company's activities follow an all-in-house concept that includes design, development, integration, qualification, and operational services. The Orbit, which is today here with us, is a space company with solutions covering the entire life cycle of a space mission, including mission analysis and design, engineering and implementation, integration, testing, launch, and decommissioning at the end of the life cycle. The company has an international presence in Italy, USA, UK, and Portugal, and is supported by UniCredit Start Lab since 2011. Finally, UniCredit is promoter and co-investor of Takeoff, the recently launched Italian accelerator for the aerospace and advanced hardware industries. Takeoff represents an additional example of our commitment to invest and support innovative business ideas within a systemic approach. So I finished also in light of the delay. Thank you very much for the attention, and as UniCredit we are open to evaluate all the opportunities as new startups which are arising also from the discussion that you are having in these 2 days. Thank you very much.
Takeoff Accelerator, the Open Innovation Model and Startup Stories. Eugenia Forte, Takeoff Director, Plug and Play.
Okay, I'm a little small, so. So hello to everyone, and nice to meet you. Thank you for inviting me and this wonderful event. So I will change a little bit my speech because I know we are late, and some of you maybe are starving a little bit, and there are also other really interesting speech. So I will skip some slides if it's okay for you. But first of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Eugenia Forte, and I work in Plug and Play, which is considered one of the largest venture capital and innovation platform worldwide. And I'm in charge, I'm the director of the Takeoff Accelerator. So the Takeoff Accelerator is considered the first Italian startup accelerator focused on the aerospace, and we also have advanced hardware systems. And we are fresh. We launched last year, and we are really proud about our results. So let's see. What is Takeoff? So we have been created an investment vehicle equal to 25, let me say, euros, just to invest in our accelerated startups. Who are the co-investors of Takeoff Accelerator? You can see in these slides, as UniCredit mentioned, we have as co-investor and promoters UniCredit and Fondazione CRT, which is Fondazione Cassa Risparmio di Torino, and also CDP Venture Capital as promoter, but it is like its initiative Takeoff actually, and also of course co-investor, and Plug and Play, which is an investor and also the acceleration operator. And we also collaborate with our corporate partners, which are Leonardo and Avio, and we are really happy about this collaboration because they are really involved during the program. So they support the startups, they work together on POC and on pilot project. One of our startups last year, for example, became a supplier of one of our corporate partners. So we are really, really proud about this program, let me say. And sorry, last but not least, this is a fresh news. I'm doing some mistakes here. Sorry. Okay. We also, of course, have a super, let me say, scientific board composed by the European and the Italian Space Agency. So thank you to Marco Di Clemente and to Gianluigi Baldesi for being such wonderful members of our scientific board. So last year we selected and we invested in 10 startups, and you can see, I'm sure you know most of them because we are all connected in the ecosystem. So we talk about upstream, downstream, but also aeronautics and drones technologies. And this is a picture from our final event, let me say, the Expo event, where our startups can showcase their prototypes, and we had a lot of fun. So for this year, we screened more than 250 startups, and we received 60 applications, and we pre-select 19 startups, and then we selected for this new batch, which started last week actually, 9 startups. They are not announced yet, but we will do it very, very soon. So I will be really quick now. I prepared 2 cases on our startups, but considering time constraints, I will just pick about one, which is from Puglia. So that's a wonderful example. So Rea Space. And I want to show you how like we work and how they change during the acceleration. So when we met first REA, they incorporated 1 month before like being selected for the type of accelerator. So they were young with a young, I don't mean the age, I mean in terms of course, startup, and with a lot of ideas, and they claimed we are an Italian company and we want to develop space suite. Whoa, bam! So like it's super exciting. Everyone was excited about this, but then you can imagine space suite is not a huge market. So we as an accelerator really work on that, on the market validation, because it's not a very huge market, but it is something really interesting at the same time. So how can we like foster and enhance this vision, but at the same time satisfying market need in terms of investment, because we are an investor, so we need to have also a return on that. So we work in the vision, and their product that was the space suite was also like enlarged in terms of proposal. So you can see, for example, in this slide what they changed. So after the acceleration, during the acceleration, they change a little bit their vision. So they also develop a suite for aviation and sport sector market. So now the market is like enlarged. They also increase their TRL during the acceleration. Now they are also actually incubated in the ESA BIC in Turin, and they are keep working on their traction. And they also structure a little bit better the team, and they cannot disclose, of course, but now they are also talking with 2 potential customers, and they are having very advanced discussions. So I hope to tell you more like in the next coming months. So this is an example. We like met the startups, we met the team, we felt, okay, this is the right team, we can work together, and then we work together in order to create a product or service which is interesting, innovative, but at the same time responding to a market need. So this is one example. I will skip the other one. And okay, so thank you for the attention. And if you need more information or you are excited about this, please text me and I'm available. Thanks.
The experience of Primo Space Fund, Matteo Cascinari, partner, Primo Space Fund.
First of all, because of the time, oops, sorry. Is there anybody in the room non-speaking English? No, not speaking Italian, sorry? Just one, okay. Let's go on with the English, no problem. No, let's go on. Do you understand everything? Yeah. No, let's go on in English, sorry. Because I thought there was no one and everybody trying to speak English. Okay, I will try to. So first of all, a very brief introduction of what we do. We have 86 million under management. We are a VC investor, a VC venture capital firm, and we invest in the early stage phase of the companies. A ticket that goes from 100K, actually our minor investment was 300K to 5 million, which has been our biggest investment. We must invest 80% in Italy, which is something good for this audience, but sometimes it's a bit of constraint for us. And 20% we can invest abroad, where abroad is European Union, UK, Israel, USA, and Switzerland. This is maybe something interesting for you. In our view, what we saw in the last 2.5 years, almost 3 years, 1,000 deals. So we have received 1,000 investment opportunities. Please consider that within that number, within that figure, there are also those pitches about opening a pharmacy shop chain. But let's say most of them are space companies. 70% of them European, of which 60% Italian. And we invested in, you see, 11 portfolio companies, but actually we just announced our 12th investment. So we made 12 investments so far, 8 in Italy, 4 outside of Italy. And these are the pillars in which we invest. We have our own classification, infrastructure, space as a service, application enablers. Approximately infrastructure and space as a service are downstream. Upstream, sorry. Application is downstream, and enablers are those companies like Caracol that have been mentioned, that have been protagonists this morning, that are enablers of space industry, but not only the space industry. We invested so far or committed 25 million out of the 86 that we mentioned before. I skipped this because some of these are our companies of our portfolio. 2 of them have been present this morning, Caracol and the Orbit. Also, the space have been cited by the representative of the European Space, European Investment Bank. And as we were not, actually we are Space Guy right now, but we were not. So we have some partners that help us in the validation of investment opportunities. First of all, Fondazione Amaldi, Lorenzo Scatena was one of the speakers, that help us in the evaluation of all the opportunities. Mr. Roberto Battiston, which was previously the former president of the Italian Space Agency, which is part of our investment committee, and some venture partners like Piero Messidoro, which is a veteran of the industry. A few words about what we do, what we are looking for, because sometimes it's not very clear what a venture capital does and what we don't do. What we are looking for, basically, you can see on the left side of the slide, the team. We evaluate basically 2 things, and the weight is 50%, 50%. 50% is the team, because business, market, technology, it's very important and very, very, very important in this field, in this specific industry. But VC is a people business, so you have to take a look very deep in who you are investing, more than or at least at the same level on the kind of business they are doing. So we look for passionate teams, visionary but realistic, because visionary people sometimes are not very realistic. Not a one-man band. We look for teams that can have complementary knowledges, complementary skills. In terms of market and technology, obviously we are looking for great scalability. This is the base of the companies we are looking for. And for sure, we look for exits. There are many companies that are wonderful companies, but they do not have a market. So as we buy and sell stake of companies, we need to invest in those companies that can have a possibility of exit. And the last one, no, not the last one, there's another one. What we do and what we don't, which I think, again, it's important. We provide capital, but not only capital. We always say that in VC startups must choose the money that they accept. I mean, they have to choose the right venture capital, because it's not only about the money. You must receive, if you're a startup, access to the network that the VC can bring to you, business opportunities for sure, and we can advise on many different topics, business on the business side, on the financial side, on the legal side, and so on. And also we can help and must help in raising funds for the next rounds of the company, in which we can follow on, but I mean, we can get to a certain point, then there are other investors that must jump on board. What we don't do, we don't manage the company. This is something that sometimes founders are afraid, are scared. We don't manage the company. The company, I mean, the ideal investment is the investment in which you don't care about. You don't know anything about. You just receive the report, and every one month, you know that everything is going well, and you don't have to care about it. You don't have to dedicate time. You dedicate time to those companies that are not performing well. So the ideal company is managed by the founder, and we don't take the majority of the cap table. We make minority investment, 10%, 20%, 30%, not more than that. And we can help. We don't, as I said, we help in searching funds, but we don't do it. I mean, the founder has to do it. We can help them. Sometimes we bring at the table investors that they don't know because of our network, above internationally, but have to do their own job. And we don't slow down the business. Another thing that founders are scared. We don't slow down the business simply because it's not in our interest. Last slide. What we want, obviously, space-related project. We just invest in space. A team with a clear idea, young business with a very high growth potential, and strong execution skill. This is something very, very important. Execution makes a difference, always in startups. What we avoid, we can't invest in military and defense project, so I mean, it's something which is out of our fund rules. We must invest in Italy, 80%, as I said. So when we invest in Italy, we prefer to be the lead investor. We want to be the lead investor. While when we invest abroad, we prefer to be follower. So there's a lead investor investing, and we follow on with our small stake on the investment. And we don't want lifestyle business. I mean, there are many companies that do have a wonderful profit and loss, a wonderful balance sheet, but for example, 10 million of revenues, 1 million of EBITDA for the next 10 years. It's a company that I would like to have to be the owner, but it's not a company that can be interesting for ABC. And we don't want part-time founders. What we said that the founder must be 100% time commitment, financial commitment, and emotional commitment. And that's it. Thank you very much.
The last speech of this session with the European Center of Space Economy and Commerce, Aims and Initiative, Professor Vito Albino, Chair of Transition Committee, ex-ECO. Prego, Professore.
So, good morning. I'm the last speaker, so I will be very short, few facts and figures, and then go to lunch. Of course, I had to start with thanking the organizer and in particular the president, chairman of the Puglia Aerospace Technology District for the invitation. And I want to justify the reason why we are presenting the European Space Center for Space Economy and Commerce here because, and I want to start based on a comment on what I heard in these 2 days here in Versailles. Because basically we discussed about the change in the space sector. We are moving from a science-driven demand sector to a commerce-driven demand sector, and this is not just a switch; it's a journey. It's a long-term transition. And then technology, materials, software are important, but at the same time, as this morning rising in the discussion, what is really important is to have new ideas, new approach, new mindset to deal with this context, new context. And so GSEW start, let's see, start or not start. Yeah. And so GSEW started by moving from a past experience of ESA related to the European Center for Space Law. And as you can see, it's basically a place where we can have an interdisciplinary discussions, and the GSEW is based in Vienna and is managed by the European Space Agency, and it's supported by the European Space Policy Institute. No, this is okay. We have more than 300 members. At the beginning, people coming from different background, business people, economists, scientists, lawyers, engineers. But what is more important is that people come from private sector, public institutions, international organizations, university research centers. And we have 4 pillars, but of course, I just introduced this concept. Basically, the idea is to develop new perspectives, a new mindset, and also a new body of knowledge in the space economy. And we had at the beginning the event on July the 4th in Vienna, and then it started the membership applications, and now we want to go very fast. And now we have a program of activity for this year, and we had 3 networking events with Geraldine Aja from ESA, with Joseph Ashbacher from ESA, myself, and then a few days ago we had a spring school on commercialization, space commercialization startups in Bari. And then we will continue, and with other networking events, we have a participation in the Commercial Space Days in Lucerne next September, and then in Paris, and then the next general meeting that will be held in Vienna next December. This is the picture of the 40 participants, PhD students participating at the spring school a few days ago in Bari, and we had also the ESA Pilot Master Competition with very brilliant ideas of 6 startups coming from different countries in Europe, and then we had also 2 selected, 2 winners, 2 selected startups. So if you wish to have more information, about GSEW, please visit the website or use LinkedIn and Twitter to get more information about this organization. Thank you.
Allora, pochissime parole per chiudere i lavori. If it's possible, a quote from an old philosopher, Friedrich Nietzsche, the shortest way passes through the stars. And this way we know in this today in Mesagne. Thank you for all for this workshop. The mission of the meeting materialized in the reports of these 2 days in 2 sessions. The conclusion can now be drawn by the president of Apulian Aerospace DTA, Giuseppe Acerno.
And good morning again. Just a few words, it's too late, and you have been so kind, but I think also so interested to follow this day. These 2 days, different days, but I guess that both of them in different ways has given opportunity to all the participants. For us it has been a good goal, having so many people interested in the activities that have been done, and it has been so grateful also to listen from some of you how fruitful has been this event. As you know, we invest our money to organize it, and we do it because we believe that our scope is also to support creation or a capability to see at the objective that we have or at the challenges in only one way, which is the way of the cooperation and integration between different competencies and roles. We have a representative from the government, from the Italian Space Agency. We have had many enterprises today, and academia's research center. This is the way in which day by day we behave. And so thinking that we have been able to create a moment for 2 days in which all these actors can stay together, facing each other, and maybe exchanging not only ideas, but also possibilities of cooperation. This is our goal. And I think that we have succeeded in it. And our aim is to have the possibility to do it again. And it depends, of course, first from our partners with the European Space Agency and the Italian Space Agency. But it depends also from the support that we will receive from you with your participation and contribution as you have done. I don't know if you are leaving Bisagna today. I hope you had time to stay longer. Generally, when we prepare events, we concentrate it at the end of the week, thinking that maybe spending the rest of the week in these places won't be so awful. And I hope that you will have, if not today, in the next future, the possibility to come back, to stay with us in our event, or to stay, to come and to enjoy the people of this region and all the other things that I think accompanied in a proper manner, in a good way, you're staying here in Bisagna. Thank you very much.